Good morning, AMIV family, and welcome back to the AMIV Health and Wellness segment. My name is Woody, and I'm excited to be back with you guys today, and I'm also super excited to have Kortni Gilson with us here today. For those of you who don't know, Kortni Gilson is a former TV personality star on MTV's Florabama Shore. She is also a mental and physical health advocate as a social media influencer. As you guys can see today, we're both hooked up to some IVs, and Kortni is going to introduce her life journey and passions with us and talk about how AMIV has even played a role in all of that. So Kortni, welcome back to the show. We're very excited to have you with us today. Thank you for being so easy to work with.
Thank you.
Let me start off by asking, kind of just on surface level, how did you hear about AMIV?
So I had a gym membership at Fitness 360 in Panama City Beach. And then I think he had reached out to me on Instagram. We had talked about collaborating and working together. And then I was so busy, and then he got really busy. And then a few months ago, I was getting sick and I needed an IV. And I had messaged him, like, hey, do you guys still do home calls? He's like, yeah. And so then I booked it with Ashley. She's great. She's my favorite. And so that's just kind of how I started getting services from you guys.
Gotcha. And apart from the IVs, so you've already expressed how much you love Ashley. So how's your experience been with the nurses? And on top of that, what about even just the flexibility of the services and being able to show up to your home? How nice is that having it as like somewhat of a convenience?
It's very convenient because I don't want to leave the house to go anywhere. So I think it's great that you can have house calls, and it's super professional, super easy to use, the website. So Ashley's obviously great. She's probably the only one that I'm going to be getting my IVs from. Just because I think it's important to like be able to have a conversation too. Like you're still like a real person, and IVs take like a hot minute. So at least you have someone to talk to, and yeah.
Okay. So you've expressed to me that you've had some physical setbacks in your life. Could you just share your journey a little bit? And then on top of that, just add how AMIV has kind of supported you through those.
Yeah. So how I even start this? So I was diagnosed with endometriosis in 2019. And that kind of started my health journey as far as like, I had a lot of stomach issues. Any stomach issue that you could name, I probably had it. And it was because I was eating like crap. Wasn't really going to the gym, wasn't doing anything for my physical health. And then once I was diagnosed, I started eating gluten-free. That was like the first thing that I did. And I was like 200 pounds at the time. I had like lost 30 pounds within the first few months and then decided to go dairy-free. And it's like super overwhelming whenever you start with trying to take all these things out of your diet. So it's like something that you should kind of take day to day and figure out what works for you. But now I follow an anti-inflammatory diet. So I like try not to do like any sugars or anything like that. But that also plays into mental health because your stomach is your second gut.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started feeling better physically, I started feeling better mentally. And it all just kind of started from the show. I had a mental breakdown. That was something that kind of catapulted me into my healing journey to even go get checked for endometriosis. So I think that all ties in together.
Gotcha. And kind of just, even apart from IV treatments, you've mentioned diet and stuff. What are other ways, even like physically or even spiritually, that you have combated these setbacks in your life?
I have a pretty strong relationship with God. Like I'm a very spiritual person. So I believe like everything happens for a reason. And I think like one of those reasons is like reasons that I don't even know. So I kind of have to like trust and like higher power, God, kind of guide me through those things.
Mm-hmm.
IVs are also very good for like anti-inflammation. So that's something that with having endometriosis, that helps with inflammatory issues. And doing IVs just in general, like I have allergies really bad. So like I was getting sick a few months ago, booked an IV, and I was like so much better, like didn't even get sick. I forgot what else you had asked.
Well, we could even talk about, so I introduced you, you're kind of a physical health advocate.
Yeah.
So you like working out.
Yes.
What does your physical routine look like?
So I mean, it changes week to week, honestly. Like if I don't feel like going to the gym, I'm not gonna go. But
Do you feel bad for it though?
no, I think that throughout my wellness journey, though, it's like at the beginning, I was like, I have to go 6 days a week. And then I would sit there and like beat myself up if I didn't make it 6 days a week. Now I'm like, I'm only going to go 3 to 4 if I feel like it. And if I don't, like, I try to like eat good so that like I don't feel like crap about missing the gym. But like also if I like one thing that I struggled with was binge eating. And so anytime I would experience any type of like, I don't know, if I was like depressed, I would go to food for comfort. So like I still do kind of struggle with that sometimes. But even if I do fall into that pattern, I'm still like try not to beat myself up over it because like you're not gonna sit here and like gain all this weight just because like you eat a couple hundred extra calories like in one day. And then you're not going to lose all this weight if you just add in one extra day where you're like pushing yourself. You have to give your body time to kind of like reset and relax because then you're just full of inflammation and just like you're tired and exhausted and like you need to be able to rest to build muscle and all the things.
Yeah, and I like how you kind of described your desire for working out or your ability to show up as kind of a want to in a way. So like you're kind of working out because like it feels good and you know it's contributing to your health, but you're also not. I feel like a lot of people, they work out and so there's a lot of influencers out there who are hardcore. Like if you try to follow like a David Goggins, you're going to want to be in the gym 7 days a week. But I feel like that's where a lot of people experience burnout.
Yeah.
Have you experienced any burnouts? And is that maybe why you kind of, you know, toned it back a little bit to just being like, hey, I work out because it makes me feel good, not because I want to feel or look a certain way.
And you start doing the same workout every single time. And then it's like, why am I doing it? It's like I have to constantly try to figure out like new exercises. Or if I go to a new gym, I like to book an appointment with a trainer that's there because I have social anxiety. So if I go into a gym, I don't know where anything's at. I want to train with someone that knows this gym equipment, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm doing that next time that I go.
And it's so hard to like tap someone who like has their headphones on, like, hey, where's this at? Or,
no, and then I can't
can I jump in?
Yeah, like I just started going to a new gym, and I'm like sitting here messing with like the lat pull down machine, and then you can also do like rows with it. And I'm like sitting here trying to like mess with the seat. And I'm like, I know I just saw someone do this. How can I can't figure it out. And this lady, like, thankfully she saw me struggle. She's like, I got you. I was like walking away from the machine because I gave up. And she's like, no, like I got you. I was like, oh, thank God. But no, also caffeine, like that's something that I wish I would have known earlier in my like gym journey. I didn't start working out with like, I don't do pre-workout anymore because I had a problem there for a minute with the pre-workout. It was like not good.
Tweaking out.
Yeah. So I'll do like a Celsius. I was like doing the whole Alani thing. But I mean, it's all bad for you, whatever. But I do have like some sort of like caffeine that helps motivate me to get to the gym.
Gotcha. And so being that like there are several layers of things that could kind of unmotivate us from going to the gym. Like I know a lot of people show up, they might feel uncomfortable because it's a new environment for them, or just like the regimen of it, you know, showing up every day and whatnot, and facing even kind of some of the physical setbacks you've had where I'm sure there's days where you just don't have the energy to go, or you just kind of lose desire altogether, which leads to a lack of motivation. And that's where kind of discipline, I think you've brought it together for having a strong suit of discipline. Yeah. So where did you originally find the motivation to adopt to this lifestyle you're currently living, and how has that evolved into a discipline?
So I think with like the times that I really did not want to go to the gym were I had to literally force myself to get out of the bed to get to the gym because you're going to feel better 9 times out of 10. Because whenever you're going and you're working out, you're at least releasing endorphins. So on like a science level, logistic level, it's just like better for like your hormones and just to get your juices flowing. So I try to convince myself that it is going to make me feel better, which it does. So there's plenty of times where I just like don't want to go, and I do, and it makes me feel a lot better. I think caffeine helps that. And then I think just seeing how far I've come, it's like, I know that you don't want to take the pictures of like what you look like now in the present moment. I wish I would have taken more pictures of where I was at when I was like super depressed and like not feeling my best, because now I can look at the pictures that I did take. And it's like, that's the motivation that like makes me keep wanting to go and to better myself. And I just like want to be strong too. I need to be able to lift a couch. You know? I just like moved my entire life into an apartment, and like me and my best friend moved everything. We're like, yeah, you know, we should start a moving company. So like, I don't know. I want to be strong.
Well, as an influencer, keep being strong for the rest of us, because we're gravitating towards your kind of lifestyle. And with that, you've had a significant amount of presence in front of a camera for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Coming from, you know, being a TV personality to now you're a big advocate and also social media influencer. What does it mean to you to be able to share your journey and advocate on topics like mental health, physical health, and kind of help others find that light?
So that's one of the things that's like really important to me. I think being on a TV show, and on Florabama, that was like the hardest timeline for me in my life. I was experiencing a lot. And I'm very like thankful that I experienced that in such a public setting, because A, it helps a lot of people to see that you can go from that to where I am. And B, had I not have like been on a TV show, I don't think that I would have I think it put more pressure on me to like help myself and to do better. And then through that, I'm helping other people. I had this like epiphany during one of my interviews I did after the show of like why I left. And I just like genuinely believe that God put me here and put me on that show to share my story. Like I've had a lot of people like reach out to me that said that they were going to kill themselves had they not like turned the TV on and like watched an episode and saw me struggling. And then to see like where I am now, it gave them hope. So that means a lot to me. And I've also had like people that come up to me that have watched my entire journey from like when Florabama first started airing to like where I am now. So I don't know, I think mental health is really important, and we all struggle with it. I still struggle with it. There's days where I'm still depressed like all the time, but the gym has helped that. My diet has helped that. And then sharing my story has helped that, because by me helping other people, I also have all these people that come to bat for me. And like, I try to message everybody back. So I'll have conversations with people that just reach out to me, and those conversations help me. So by me helping other people, they're also helping me.
And not to say that it is your responsibility, but do you feel like you've made it your responsibility to kind of hold to these standards, these newfound standards, because you know, it's like whether you like it or not, you've been on camera, people know who you are. So people see you as an influence.
Yeah. I think, so if like you ask me, I absolutely hate Instagram. I hate social media because I think it's this like, it's not real. I think it's like, I'm going to post the best pictures of myself, the funnest times that I have. And though I think that is great because you're getting to like experience these things and like show the world like what you're experiencing, I think that there's this whole other side that people don't see. So I try to post like the nitty gritty, like raw and like real shit that no one really wants to see, you know what I mean? But it's real, and I try to portray myself as a real person, because regardless if I was on a TV show or if I'm an influencer, I'm still like a normal ass person. And I think it's like really interesting, like a lot of people that come up to me, I think it's like kind of a letdown because they think like they're meeting this person that was on like this TV show. Like, yeah, they are. But like, that was also me when I was 21. And so it's like really interesting because it was just put on Netflix, and everyone's now watching it like again for the first time that like they might have not seen it back when it came out in 2017. And they like come up to me, they're like wanting to rip shots with me, and they're like, come hit my cigarette. And I'm like, I know, but like I like the 21-year-old version of me and like, hell yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so they're like meeting this different version of me, and they're just kind of like, you suck. I'm like, that's awesome. It's like but I'm like still like the point being is like I'm just a normal person, and this is the first time I'm living this life too, just as everybody else is. So it's like I've made my mistakes, and like I'm learning and I'm growing, and yeah, it's been wild.
I think it's funny that you said that. It's like people think they can just come up to you and press a button and they're gonna get like this crazy dramatic Kortni.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, you're a little late. That's
and they're all like in their like early 20s. I'm just like, we would have been best friends probably. But like now, like I don't really drink much. Like I had battled my whole like substance abuse. Like that's a whole nother topic. but like I don't really drink often. And I've learned now that I can have a drink and it not get to the point of where I was on Florabama and like getting like blacked out, hammered, and like all of that. And so I think there's like a lot of judgment through that as well. Because like people think that you either have to be like getting blacked out or have to be like completely sober. So it's just like a really interesting dynamic.
That's an interesting point you kind of bring up. Do you feel, so being that used to be kind of one drink would probably lead into multiple drinks, and now you're kind of just more casual with it, but do you still kind of fight that urge a little bit? Like, is there that desire to like,
you give me an espresso martini, I'm gonna want a couple. But no, I think too, it's just like I think being in Florida, especially in the Panhandle, all there is to do is go to the bar. I don't think there's like you just go to the bar and there's like a band. Like you can't, like if you're in a city, there's like all these different types of like nightlife that you can go to listen to like different types of music. I think like here you're just going out to get hammered. And that's all you do. You have the beach and then you have the bars. And so it's like very easy to get sucked into that lifestyle. So I'm actually on a journey. My best friend is in California. She's gone for a month. And I'm like, what am I going to do for this month? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I don't want to go out to the bars and like be in this atmosphere where like the energy is just like very low on like an energetic level. Like it's vibrating at such a low frequency. Like I want to do anything in my power to like raise above that. So I'm like going to try to do yoga. And I'm not saying that the bar is bad. I go to the bar. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't want to go to the bar every weekend.
For the social aspect.
Yeah. But I know people are going to come for me if I like shitting on the bar. But no, like I am spending this next month, like really like trying to do things with my dogs, go to like new gyms, do things outside, go to yoga. So like I'm trying to find things to do outside of just the beach and the bar here. I'm so sorry I got off topic. I'm like,
no, you're fine. That's what we want.
Yeah.
How are you adapting to all that?
Because I'm bored.
I can say for myself, I came from like a college kind of party background, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of trying to find different hobbies and not feel that desire Friday night, Saturday night to kind of go out. So how do you feel like you're adapting to that?
I think it's difficult because I think through my journey, I've always been like really codependent on like my friends, like go and do things with other people. And so I've had to learn to do things on my own. Like even just going to Publix to get my groceries, I have to work myself up to go there to get my groceries. I don't get it. I'm just like, it's just going to Publix to get your groceries. So I think
you can do pickups now, right?
Yeah, 100%. But it's deleting like the whole like purpose of like I need to get my ass out of the house to like do these things. I like to ride, like have like my motorcycle, but it's so hot that you're like literally cooking, and then the traffic is so bad, and then it's just like not even enjoyable in the summer months like ride. So like that's something that I like to do alone or like even with people. But I don't know, it's like kind of boring to do things alone. So I think like I have met a new like friend group, and like they all go to church, and like so I thought about like doing stuff with them, and they're just like super nice people. And it's like you have to put yourself in spaces and around the people that you are who you become, or you become who you surround yourself.
You are who your friends are.
Yeah. And so it's like if I don't want to be like the people that I'm surrounded with, probably shouldn't be around those people. And all these people that are like coming into my life in this new chapter are just like people that I would love to be like. And they're all just like very godly women, and like I'm working on like my relationship with God. So I think that's going to also be like a part of the month that I'm spending on self-work.
So you've built new relationships. Have you had to kind of part from old relationships, or just found? I would even say some people, even myself, I find like sometimes I try to change the dynamic. I don't like losing relationships, but sometimes I'll change that dynamic if I can, if it's feasible. But do you feel like you've had to either change the dynamic or kind of get away from past relationships?
I cut ties with probably all of my old friends that I had throughout like my substance abuse chapter of my life. I think a lot of the time whenever you sit there and choose better things for yourself, these people are like, Like if you don't want to have a drink, they're like, oh, like you need a drink. Like you need to come have a drink. Oh, don't be a pussy. Drink, take a shot. And it's just like, you need to have like some respect for me and like my growth journey and know that like, I don't want to do that anymore. And like, that's okay if you want to do that, but like, I don't. And then it becomes this like, they think that you think that you're too good or high and mighty or uppity because you're choosing to do all these things. So I had to separate myself from a lot of friendships because they didn't agree with my growth journey. And that was like very hard. So like I felt like I was alone for a long time. And I know one of the questions is who is like important to me. It's my best friend Daniela. She's like the first true friend I've ever had, like ever. And so she like, I would love to be anything like her. She's great. She's like the smartest person I know. So her, and then like, I also like my mom and my dad are like my best friends. So like, don't know what I would do without them either. But friendships, she's taught me, I used to think like, oh, like I don't need anybody. Like I'm fine alone. You know what I mean? And like, she's taught me that like, you really do like need connection and people to, I don't know, like just, you can depend, like having her to be able to depend on is like great. And I've never had that before. So
Have you felt like you've ever had to be your own best friend as well?
yeah, I am 100%. I think I'm hilarious. I don't think that anyone thinks I'm as funny as I think that I am. You know what I mean?
As you should. I mean, you should be able to make yourself laugh at any given moment.
Yeah.
Like you should be your number one comedian.
For sure. And I think the journey to like self-love is like the biggest thing, is like just like coming home to yourself, because I hated myself for so long. And like now I just like love myself so much that like I have such a short fuse when somebody treats me like not necessarily wrong, but like bad. Like I'm like, okay, like I'm good. Like I know like what I want in a friend or a partner or just like who I want to be like in my circle.
And I'll validate everything you're saying just between our own lines of communication. I'm like, yo, Kortni's like, I mean, I've watched a couple episodes of Florabama.
Weird.
You know, like Richard kind of connects me with you, and I'm like, you know, you just never know what to expect.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're a social media influencer. Sometimes when you talk to people with a little bit more exposure or whatever, they kind of give you like this, you know, they're a little above you. And I was like, yo, you're not just preaching it, you're living it.
Yeah.
The rest of us appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're a joy to be around and whatnot. So how about, what's a favorite quote or motto that you live by, and what is the challenge that you have for our AMIV family this morning based on that quote or motto that you live by?
Do it anyway, because regardless if you do it or you don't do it, you're either going to regret it or someone's going to be pissed about it. So as long as like it makes you happy, it doesn't matter. Date the guy, do the thing. I don't know, like figure it out. Like, to touch on that, like relationships, right? Like I'm someone that like has to learn the hard way. I always have with jobs, relationships, friendships, all of that. But I've done it anyway. And honestly, I would have rather have done it that way because it's got me to where I am, and I know what I know now because of it.
Okay. So you did mention your faith earlier, like spiritually. Do you add that component into it as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think too, like in the public eye, like a lot of people don't have a relationship with God, or like don't even know like where to even like start that journey. And I think too, I think a lot of people can feel like embarrassed about it. I'm like, I grew up in the church. My mom's dad was a preacher. So I think like having some sort of like faith is really important. But go to church. Honestly, like I think that you can meet like a lot of like great people there, and it's like scary. Like obviously, like I would be afraid to go by myself.
I was actually, that was gonna be my follow-up question. I was like, go by yourself, find a friend.
I should. Honestly, I really should. Maybe this is the sign for me to go to church alone and figure it out.
Find your face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think it's very important.
Well, AMIV family, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you guys all have taken something away from Kortni, as she has kind of opened up to us about her life and journey. And yeah, thank you, Kortni. Thank you for being with us today.